Welcome viewers. Today we are going to take up S block elements. Now we have planned the lecture into 5 categories. Now first we will take up the introduction of S block elements. This will be followed by studying their physical properties, and then we will take up chemical properties followed by diagonal relationship, and finally comparative studies of the two groups. Now what are S block elements? The S block elements are those in which the last electron enters the outermost s orbital. Now an orbital cannot hold more than 2 electrons. Since the orbital can only hold 2 electrons, we can have only 2 groups. They are classified as 1s1 ns1 group and ns2 group. ns1 means there is 1 electron in the s orbital, ns2 means there are 2 electrons in the s orbital. Group 1 elements are also called alkali metals. They are called alkali metals because they react with water to give basic hydroxides and which are alkaline in nature, and therefore they are classified as alkali metals. The group 2 elements are also called alkaline earth metal because they also give alkali. Apart from beryllium, all other elements they give hydroxide, and therefore they are called alkaline, and that they exist in earth crust as oxide. Therefore they are called alkaline earth metals. Now position in the periodic table, they are placed in the extreme left in the periodic table, as you can see in the diagram depicted here. You can see here group 1 consists of lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. Now sodium has a symbol Na. Now Na does not justify sodium. In fact, its chemical name is natrium, Natrium, and K is given name potassium, which is more common name. Otherwise, the chemical name for K is potassium, kalium, Kalium. So you can know that now we have told you the chemical name as well as the other names. So this is lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. Now group 2 elements we will take up later on. So we will only concentrate more on the 1s block element, and then we will take up subsequently the 2s block elements. Now look here, the general electronic configuration of S block elements are basically the nomenclature, or I would say electronic configuration is given by the noble gas configuration and S1. That is, if you have helium S1, configuration of helium, S1 is helium is a noble gas and S1 is the outermost orbital for the first member lithium, and then comes sodium. We have noble gas NS1, and here we have shown you here and noble gas NS2 for alkali metals and for alkaline earth metal. So you can see from here that is 1s electron is very loosely bound. So you can easily remove it, because then you can get a noble gas configuration. Here you have got 2 electrons which can be easily removed. So these are the configuration for alkali and alkaline earth metals. Now we will pass on, we shall take up the study of first group elements, especially the physical properties. Now here we have given you some physical constant, you can see here lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. Now lithium has an atomic number of 3, and you can see that the configuration here is helium, and helium has a configuration of 1s2 and which is followed by 2s1. Now sodium you can see has a configuration of neon, which is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and is 3s1. Now this is the configuration of neon, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and which is followed by 3s1. So that is the configuration of sodium. So similarly we have krypton, xenon and radon, which have a configuration which are of course we all know noble gases, which is followed by 1s configuration. And francium is of course radioactive, it does not exist like that, and it has a lifetime of 21 minutes half life. Now coming to the abundance and their structure. Now lithium you can see that exists as 18 ppm in the earth crust and its relative abundance is 35, and sodium and potassium they have got a very relative abundance is quite high, you can see here 7 and 8. and of course, these are slightly lower in concentration. You can see that here 78 and 2.6, and their relative abundance is quite low in comparison to potassium and sodium. Now, they have got BCC structure, body centered cubic structure. BCC means body centered cubic structure. That means the volume is quite high, and therefore, the volume of the crystal is quite high, and they are light, and therefore, they are also very soft metals, and they have got very you can say low boiling and melting point, which we will see later on. Now, you can come here, occurrence. How do they occur in nature? As you know, these are very reactive metals. Why they are reactive? Because on losing one electron, they tend to get the noble gas configuration. Therefore, they are very reactive. They do not exist in free state at all, because it is very easy to remove one electron from them. Therefore, they occur as salts, and you can see here occurrence. Now, lithium will occur as silicate, as we have shown here, as pseudomine LiAlSiO3, and lepidolite Li2Al2SiO3. Sodium and potassium make up about 4% of the weight of the earth crust. As you can see, we have shown you the relative in the abundance earlier. Sodium and potassium are present in large amount as NaCl and KCl in seawater. Larger source of sodium is present in rock salt as NaCl, and as Na2CO3, sodium bicarbonate, NaHCO3, borax, Na2B4O710H2, and sodium nitrate, etc. Now, KCl deposits known as sylvite are easily available. NaCl and KCl mixture is known as sylvinite, and also potassium is present as K2O in nature. Now, there is no convenient source for rubidium and cesium. These elements are obtained as byproduct of lithium processing. Now, occurrence of francium. It is a radioactive element with half life time of 21 minutes and can be designated as francium 22387. 87 is the atomic number and 223 is the atomic weight. Now, this can be made from actinium. Actinium 89 is the atomic number, 227 undergoes beta decay to give thorium 90 and 227, which is the atomic weight of thorium. Then thorium undergoes alpha elimination to give francium 22387. Now, this francium which we are interested in is formed like this, and this undergoes radioactive decay by giving beta decay, and this has a half life of 21 minutes. Half life means after 21 minutes the concentration of francium or the radioactive element will remain half. Now, general feature. Group 1 are called alkali metals, which we have already told you earlier, because they form hydroxide on reaction with water, which are strongly alkaline in nature. They are silvery in white in color, tarnish rapidly in air. Therefore, they are usually kept immersed under paraffin oil vacuum sealed ampoules. They are very soft, low melting and boiling point. Now, since there is only weak metallic bond present in them, as only one electron is contributed to bond formation, they have low densities, and since they possess body centered cubic structure, which I have already mentioned earlier, the structure having more space, and we know that density is nothing but mass by volume. Therefore, the densities are very low. Alkali metals are placed in group 1 of the periodic table, as they readily form monopositive ion, because if you see the configuration, they have got a configuration that is helium, or you can say noble gas S1. So, on removal of one electron, they attain noble gas configuration, which are very unreactive or very stable. Therefore, they readily lose one electron, and therefore, they are monopositive, as you can see here. Here it is monopositive ion. As we go down the group, alkali metals show steady increase in size due to addition of new shell. If you see that, if you see earlier one, that is 2s1 lithium, and sodium is 3s1. So, we are keeping on adding one shell. The value of n is increasing, that is principal quantum number. So, n is equal to 1, 2, 3, that means we are adding an additional shell which amounts to increase in size, and when the size increases the bonding becomes very weak. That is because there is only one electron to bind the metal, the entire metal, and it becomes weaker and weaker, and therefore as we go down the group the formation of positive ion becomes more and more easier. Now, these are certain physical parameters which we have given you, and you can see from these parameters the first ionization energy is 520 kilojoules per mole. Now, you should know what is ionization energy, what is ionization enthalpy, what do we mean by that? It is meant that the ionization enthalpy is the removal of most loosely bound electron in the metal in its gaseous state, and that is 1s1, you may have 2s1, 3s1, 4s1, 5s1 electron. Now, you can see here this 520 kilojoules per mole and this 495. You can see there is a decrease in ionization enthalpy because the size is increasing, and on every additional shell is being added here. You can see that lithium has 520, sodium has 495, potassium has 418, rubidium has 402.9, and then cesium has 375.6 kilojoules per mole. So, they keep on decreasing down the group. Now, if you see here second ionization, because after the removal of first electron it attains noble gas configuration. On attaining noble gas configuration it becomes very stable, and you can see the second ionization 7296. It is almost impossible to remove the second electron after the removal of first electron, because it has attained the configuration of helium. After the removal of first electron in lithium, it will attain the configuration of helium, and which is noble gas or inert element. So, you can see that, and as we go down the group, because of the shell increase in shell, they keep on decreasing in that order. You can see this 4500 odd, there is 3069, there is 2650, 2420. So, you can see that the second ionization energy is very high, and they do not form any compounds in this oxidation state. Now, coming to density, again you can see the density as we go down the group. There are certain variation here, because you can see 0.54, it is keeping on increasing 0.54, 0.97, but there is a discrepancy here. This is probably because the structure and size of the atom, they sometimes change due to some forces which are present in it, due to addition of additional electron in potassium. You can see this 86, 97, but these is not very justifiable. There are certain things which are beyond our justification. This 0.97 and 86 are not easy to explain, but we generally have a trend, that is it increases down the group with some little, because as I said, group does not always obey a particular type of, there is always something exceptional also which happen, and you can see this metallic and ionic radii, because we keep on adding additional shell, they will follow a very particular trend, they will keep on increasing down the group. See 152, 186, 227, 248, 265, and this is of course after the removal of electron. This 76, the value of 76 pm picometer, pm here means picometer. You can see here 76, 102, 138, they are keeping on increasing. This is the radii of the ion here, that is M positive. This 152 is of the metal and this is of the ion. So, you can see they have a very a good order, in the sense that as the shell increases, the size also increases, and they are very consistent of course. Electronegativity, you can see that cesium is the least electronegative element in the entire table. You can see that it is 0.7, 0.8, 0.8. And what is electronegativity? Electronegativity is basically the energy, or you can say to share the to attract the shared pair of electron basically towards itself. So, you can see that electronegativity decreases down the group. if the electronegativity is entirely opposite to electropositivity. So, what I am trying to tell you is, if electronegativity decreases, the electropositivity will increase and the formation of plus ion will become more and more easier. And you can see this boiling point also, they follow this trend, they keep on increasing down the group. It should decrease in fact down the group, because lithium is small and the metallic bonding will be stronger in this case, and as we go down the group there should be a decrease in melting and boiling point of the metal. But as I told you earlier also, that these trends may not be always true, but mostly it will follow this pattern, that is, as we go down the group the intermetallic bond, that is the metallic bonding, will become weaker and weaker, and therefore the melting and boiling point should decrease as we go from lithium to cesium. Now you can see that now we are just telling you about characteristic trends which we have already told you and the reason behind it. Now oxidation state, all elements show +1 oxidation state, and I have told you why they show, because once they lose one electron they acquire noble gas configuration, which is very stable and is also indicated by the second high ionization energy. The ionization order is again, as I have told you, will follow this trend, because shell is being added, it is easy to remove electron when the from the higher shell. So you can see lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. So it will keep on decreasing down the group, because it will be more easier to remove an electron from cesium rather than lithium. So as we have already told you this, as the size increases, it becomes easier and easier to remove the electron from the outermost shell, and the first ionization energy of the atom will decrease down the group. Now electronegativity, that also we have told you that will follow this order. Lithium will be most electronegative, followed by sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium. This trend is almost common in all the elements of even S and P block, that is, they keep on decreasing down the group. Now coming to density, we have already told you there is a slight change here, but otherwise it is very consistent. So lithium, sodium, then potassium is slightly more denser than sodium, which is rubidium and cesium. This is again the slight change here, otherwise it generally follows this trend. Now generally the density increases from lithium to cesium as the atomic mass increases, with exception of K. I told you there are always exceptions everywhere in this universe. So there is not, chemistry is no exception to that. So in this case potassium is an exception, otherwise we have already told you they have got a BCC structure, which is body centered cube, and has a large volume and the mass is low, and therefore they have low densities, and the order is mentioned here with the exception of potassium. Now atomic and ionic radii, we have already told you lithium is the smallest, then followed by sodium, potassium, rubidium. Well, lithium is smallest because there is a subsequent addition of new shell. From here we have got 2s1, 3s1, 4s1, 5s1 and 6s1 configuration. So there is additional shell added to it, therefore it becomes larger and larger. Now atomic and ionic radii increase since because of the additional shell introduced as we go down the group. Now melting and boiling point, as I told you, they are held by a very weak metallic bond, therefore they tend to have very low melting and boiling points. So trends are also consistent. So you can see here lithium, I told you, will be have highest melting point, followed by sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium. The melting point and boiling point decreases down the group, because increasing size there is a weaker metallic bonding and they are very soft. You can even cut them with knife. Sodium you can cut, potassium can be cut with knife, and as you can see, because they have very low melting and boiling point, they can be easily cut by knife, and they are very reactive. We have already told you they are placed in paraffin, kerosene, or sometimes in vacuum ampules. Now, flame coloration. Now, there is a very important feature of these elements, because they have got a very low ionization energy. They tend to show color in flame. Now, what basically happens in this? When we place a salt in the flame, say NaCl, it changes into atom, and this atom absorbs energy and becomes excited, and when it is re-emitted, the energy is re-emitted, because nobody can remain in excited state for too long, it has to come to ground state, and when it comes to ground state, it emits light, and this light falls in the visible region of the EMR spectrum. EMR means electromagnetic resonance spectrum. So, you can see that lithium, when the electron falls back into ground state, gives a crimson red color, sodium yellow color, potassium lilac, and you can see that rubidium gives red violet color and cesium gives blue. Now, alkali metals are highly reactive metals and good reducing agent. See, what basically reduction is what? If some metal gets easily oxidized, it becomes a very good reducing agent. So, because it can easily lose an electron, so therefore, they are very good reducing agent. Now, this is the main property required for reduction, that is, it should be able to lose the electron very readily, and more readily it releases the electron, more reduction properties it is going to have. See, the reactivity also increases down the group, because the ionization energy decreases down the group. Therefore, the reactivity also will increase down the group, because it becomes easier to remove the electron. Now, we come to certain chemical properties. We have already seen the physical aspects, and we have already told you that they are chemically very reactive, because they very easily lose one electron, and they can form any, they are very reactive with, they can react with anything like oxygen, halogens, and we are going to take up oxides first. Now, oxides basically is reaction with oxygen, and as we know that lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium has a valency of +1 and oxygen has a valency of -2. So, to form a neutral molecule, you need 2 lithium or 2, or you can say you need 2 metal atoms and 1 oxygen atom, that is, they can form M2O type of compounds. These are called normal oxide. Now, apart from this, these metals can also form peroxides and superoxides. Now, peroxide I mean is, they had peroxide we have O2 negative as the anion, and in superoxide we have O2 negative ion. Now, this is formed only by higher elements, not by lithium, because lithium is too small. Now, you can see that alkali metals produce one type of oxide except lithium, all are ionic. 3 types of oxides are formed: normal oxides, peroxides and superoxides, as I have already mentioned. Now, relationship between them, there is monooxide, as I said, O has a 2 negative or 2 valency of 2, and therefore, 2 negative means you need 2 ions, 2 positive ions, and they have only +1 charge. So, you need 2 ions. So, basically the formula for normal oxide would be M2O, M2O, that is, you can see later on normal oxide, you can see this Li2O, Na2O, these are normal oxide, but sodium can also form peroxide Na2O2. Now, here Na2 has, that means there are 2 plus charges. So, O2 must have 2 negative charge. O2 2 negative is nothing but peroxide, you can see here, is formed by sodium on heating. Now, Na2O2 can be formed, but it cannot form NaO2, because it is not big enough, but whereas potassium, the next member, you can see as the size is increasing, they can form further oxides. You can see potassium can form 3 types of oxide, you can see this MO2 type, this is called superoxide. This can be formed by potassium, rubidium and cesium, all 3 can form this, but not lithium and sodium. You can see here, we will show you here. Na can form normal oxide and peroxide. It cannot form superoxide. I will tell you this thing. This is because of the size of the element. Na cannot hold too bigger a ligand. We will discuss that later on when we talk of stability of these oxides and compare with that of the second group elements. Now, you can see that potassium, rubidium and cesium can form superoxide. Now, superoxides have formula MO2. You can see here K plus O2 will give KO2, which is superoxide. Rb2O2 is peroxide on combination with oxygen gives superoxide. Similarly, cesium peroxide on combination with oxygen gives cesium superoxide. Now, example of conditions for the formation of different oxides of potassium. Now, we are taking up an example to show you the difference by which we can make all the three types of oxides of potassium. You can see here potassium on reaction with oxygen will give normal oxide at 180 degrees Celsius. On increasing the temperature up to 300 degrees, we can get potassium peroxide, and on increasing further to 3000 degrees Celsius, we can get potassium superoxide. Now, all group 1 oxides react with water to form hydroxide. Now, normal oxide will give you lithium. You can see here M2O plus H2O will give 2MOH. That is, all these oxides are basic in nature, because they are resulting in the formation of hydroxide. Now, peroxide on reaction with water gives metal hydroxide plus hydrogen peroxide H2O2, and superoxide on reaction with water will give metal hydroxide, hydrogen peroxide and oxygen. Reactivity of metal towards water. Although lithium has most negative E0, E0 is reduction potential value, its reaction with water is considerably less vigorous than that of sodium, which has least negative electrode potential, that is reduction potential among all the alkali metals. The low reactivity of lithium is due to small size and high ionization enthalpy. All the metals of the group react with water explosively to form hydroxide and liberate hydrogen except lithium. You can see here M plus 2 H2O will give M plus OH negative plus 2 H plus H2, hydrogen is liberated. Now, basic character of oxides and hydroxides. The basic character of oxides and hydroxides of alkali metal increase with increase in size of the metal ion. Lithium oxide and hydroxides are least basic, and cesium oxide and hydroxides are most basic in nature. Now, hydrides metals all react with hydrogen to give hydrides, that is MH, where hydrogen is present as H negative. You can see here alkali metals react with hydrogen at about 672 degrees to form metal hydride. 2M plus H2 will give 2MH, where metal has a positive charge and hydrogen has a negative charge. Then halides. Similarly, these metals, that is one group metals, react with halogen to give NCl. Basically, they are all ionic in character. They form MCl with chlorine, MBr with bromine, MF with fluorine. You can see that X2 is nothing but common name given for fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. We get MX type of compound, where M is positive and X is negative. They are all ionic in nature. Then solvation of alkali metals. Now, solvation, what is solvation basically? These solvent molecules always surround the metal ion. Now, what is basically solvent which are polar? They have a negative pole and a positive pole. The negative pole points towards the positive ion. Therefore, this is called basically solvation, and this positive pole, negative pole tend to move towards the positive ion, and this is called solvation. And if water is a solvent, then it is called hydration. You can see here, if solvent is the water, it is called hydration. So, if any solvent other than this is present, you can call it as generally as solvation. The alkali metal ions are extensively hydrated. A small ion has a high charge density and attracts the solvent molecule strongly, resulting in extensive hydration, and the energy evolved during the hydration is called hydration energy. Smaller the ion, greater is the hydration energy. So, lithium being the smallest in size has the highest hydration energy and is highly hydrated. Now, if one were to think in that sense, see here we are writing here solvation of alkali metal ions, and I have already told you that lithium is smallest in size and is heavily hydrated. And according to the size, because lithium is the smallest, should have highest conductivity, because conductivity is directly known to be proportional to the size of the ion. Now, because now if you see here, lithium being smaller size should move faster, but it is not so, because it is heavily hydrated, and therefore, moves the hydrated ion moves very slowly in comparison to other. So, therefore, the conductivity of the lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium, they will fall down is increasing down the group, because cesium is least hydrated and lithium is most hydrated, and this is also the reason behind the highest reducing property of lithium. Now, we have already seen the decrease in hydration energy from lithium to cesium, because lithium being very small in size is heavily hydrated and has highest hydration energy. Cesium being largest in size has the minimum hydration energy. So, most of the salts of alkali metals are soluble in water. For any substance to dissolve in water, the hydration energy must exceed lattice energy. Now, solution of metal ions in liquid ammonia. Now, it is very interesting that most of the one group metal ions, they form solvated electron in with ammonia, and the solvated electron conducts electricity and has a reducing property. You can see that these colors are blue, they form blue colored solution and is believed to contain solvated electron. You can see here, there is the solvated electron NH3x, electron is E negative. So, it forms this, and this conducts electricity. The solution in ammonia conducts electricity and a very good reducing agent. This is the property basically. Now, you can see this, we are writing a summary of chemical reactions of first group elements, just a recap of it what we have done. See O2, we get MOX O2, if X is 2 then Y is lithium, that is only normal oxide is formed. In case of sodium, we can get normal oxide and peroxide. In case of potassium, we can get normal oxide, peroxide as well as superoxide. Now, with sulfur we get M2S, polysulfide, then with water we know it forms hydroxide, just a recap of it. Now, H2 plus will give hydride as we have already told you, then halogen MX, that is all halogens will react to give MX. Then nitrogen, this is interesting, only lithium forms nitride under ordinary conditions. You can see this, we have written only lithium, others do not react, that is this is an exceptional case here. Although other nitrides are formed, but not in ordinary conditions, you have to give harder conditions for them. Then with alcohol they give you can see here ROH, MOR, alkoxide type compounds. MOR is nothing but metal alkoxide, and slow with lithium, but others react very fast. And with ammonia we have already seen just now that they give solvated electron with ammonia, and that is, and you can see here it is written here excellent reducing agent as well as good conductor, because of the formation of ions in this solvent. Then we come to the organometallic compounds of alkali metals. All of them form alkyl and aryl compounds. Alkyl we generally give a common symbol to this as Mr. M is nothing but metal, R is nothing but alkyl group, and for aryl we give MAr, where AR is the aryl group, aryl like phenyl group or toluene group or something like that. we can call it as metal alkyl. You can see that lithium shows stronger tendency to form covalency than the other alkali metals, and lithium methyl is very common. It has a tetrameric structure, and lithium phenyl has a hexameric structure which we are not shown here, but hexameric structure is known for lithium phenyl, that is LiPH, and this is LiMe, are prepared by the reaction of lithium with alkyl halide or aryl halide. You can have either methyl chloride or methyl iodide, you can take anything like that. See, you can see here RCl, where R is alkyl group or aryl group, and then lithium we get LiCl is salt and LiR is the lithium alkyl part of it. Now, methyl derivatives is tetrameric, as I have already told you earlier also. Lithium methyl has covalent, soluble in organic solvent, and is tetrameric in nature. The 4 lithium atoms occupy the corners of 4 tetrahedron of a tetrahedron with the methyl group above the face of the tetrahedron. The classical theories of bonding cannot explain the formation of these compounds, which involve multi-centered bonds. Now, these compounds are precursors, or you can call it a starting material for synthesis of number of organometallic compounds and organic compounds. The alkyls of sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium are all ionic in character, that is, they exist as R negative and M positive. That is, if you have Na here, see Na potassium, if you have a say potassium alkyl, potassium will bear a positive charge and alkyl will have a negative charge on it. Now, the complexation behavior of alkali metals. Now, for complexation behavior, we need appropriate orbitals to accept the pair of electron from ligands, and the d block elements do have them, and they are empty and of appropriate energy, whereas in case of alkali metal they are not appropriate in energy to accept the lone pair of electron from these ligands. See, a complex formation is common in d block elements. In d block elements, ions utilize their low lying vacant d orbitals to accept the lone pair of electron from the surrounding ligands. When a complex is formed, as in the case of S block element, ions do not possess this low lying type of vacant d orbitals and do not form complexes readily. In fact, when the S block metal ions are surrounded by polar molecules, there is only an electrostatic force of attraction between the positive ion and the negative end of the dipole moment, as we have already discussed earlier also in case of water. Because we say that it is heavily hydrated, that is because the negative end of the water comes towards the positive ion, and therefore, there is a electrostatic attraction developed. Also, because the favorable condition for complexation requires small size, high nuclear charge along with availability of empty orbital of low lying energy, which are lacking in alkali metals. Now, aqua complexes like lithium tetra aqua complex Li plus, cesium hexa plus are known, and lithium hexa are not formed because of it does not have d orbital. A number of chelates are formed for lithium, which are known salicylaldehyde and acetyl acetone. Now, an important development in the field of alkali metal chemistry is the discovery of complexes with cyclic ether and cryptons. Now, cyclic ethers are generally formed by combination of glycols. Now, glycol is nothing but CH2OH, CH2OH, and if you see that these are, you can have different size and you can create a cavity. See here, this is a crown ether. You can have this called 18 crown 6, which we have not written here, but it is called 18 crown 6. If you count the number of these sites or bonds, you can call it there 18, and since there are 6 oxygen atom, it is called 18 crown 6. Now, if you have 5, then the number subsequently will be called 14 crown 5 and so on. Now, if you see this crypton, this is a crypton and there are 2 oxygens here, 2 here, 2 here, that linked to nitrogen. This is called 2-2-2 cryptand, and there is basically a cavity. You can see that there are 2 cavities here, and they are having negative dipole here. That is O is because of electronegativity, it is slightly negatively charged, and these cavities, the K potassium ion fits in very well here, and we get a complex like these are called cryptates basically. By if you put a potassium here, it will be called potassium cryptate 18 Crown 6, and these are very selective. You can vary the size of this, you can have 4 oxygen, 5 oxygen, 6 oxygen, 7 oxygen, and their number will be mentioned. As I have said, we have shown you an example here of 18 Crown 6. You can have different cavities, and they will interact with the metal ion by according to their size. Lithium will not fit into it because it is too small in size, and potassium is the most appropriate metal ion for 18 Crown 6. Now, the chemistry of alkali material almost exclusively of the M plus ion, but rare examples do exist of alkalides. Alkalide means M negative, which are very rare and are very recently reported, but we are not very sure of them. So, we can just K negative is nothing but it is called Kalide. These are called Kalide, K negative, and is inverse of, and you can there is very recently there has been a formation of sodium hydride, inverse sodium hydride, there is Na negative and He positive. By creating those type of conditions, this has been prepared very recently, but generally this chemistry is very new and are beyond the scope of the students. Now, the biological importance, we all know about the biological importance of these metals, especially potassium and sodium are very important in biological system, because we have all read about potassium pump and they control many things in our cell. They maintain the concentration. You can see here, I will just mention few of them. Sodium plus is the major cation in the extracellular fluid, and its concentration is about 0.15 m. It is actively expelled from the cell where its concentration. So, you can see that extracellular is this much, intracellular is 0.01 m, and same is the case with potassium. You can see that potassium major cation inside the cell, you can see that is extracellular, this is intracellular in the cell 0.15 m, whereas the concentration outside is about 0.03. So, you can see that both are opposite to each other, and this is maintained by something called potassium pump, and we all know about it, and the energy is provided by hydrolysis of ATP to ADP. There is a conversion of adenosine triphosphate to adenosine diphosphate, and that results in the lot of energy, and the energy is provided, you can see, by the hydrolysis of ATP. When I say hydrolysis, I mean that conversion of ATP to ADP with the release of energy. So, sodium potassium basically are involved in maintaining the osmotic pressure inside the cell, thereby keeping it turgid. Now, you may be thinking, what is turgid? Turgid is nothing but something like swollen type of a thing, something which swells off. So, swelling of it, you can call it. The different ratio of sodium plus and potassium plus inside the and outside the cell produces a characteristic electrical potential across the cell membrane and the muscle cells. They can activate specific enzyme. Lithium salts are also used as antidepressant, but exact mode of action is however not very clear about it. So, now finally, we come to the diagonal relationship. Now, every element, generally it has been found that the first member of the group, first element of the group has a very similar property to the second element of the subsequent group. Now, lithium we know is the member of the first group, and the subsequent group, that is the second group, the magnesium is diagonally placed in the periodic table. So, lithium and magnesium do have many properties which are very similar to each other. We will just take a few of them to justify this thing. We have already said this, there is a close relation similarity is observed in certain cases between first element of a group with the second element of the following group or the subsequent group. This is referred to as diagonal relationship. Now, in our case lithium and magnesium. Now, why do they behave similarly? Because I said mainly if you have listened to the entire lecture, we have kept our stress on the size of the atoms and the ions. If you look at their size, they are very similar in size and even their ionic size are very similar. So, they behave in a very similar way because of the reason we have quoted here. Now, you can see that on descending down the group, the size increases and the charge on the ion remains the same. Thus, the polarizing power decreases. Now, on moving across a period, the charge on the ion increases and the size decreases, causing polarizing power to increase. Now, on moving diagonally, the effect of the size and charge partly cancel out each other, so that the polarizing power are comparable and there is a significant change in the property of a property, particularly for the lighter elements. Now, the two elements along the diagonals have comparable electronegativity. You can see that lithium has 1 and you can see that magnesium has 1.2, and then I already told you about the sizes. You can see that lithium has 152 picometer and magnesium has atomic radii of 160 picometer, and you can see even the ionic radii 76, 72. So, all these are very similar. So, chemically they tend to behave in a very similar way. The main point of similarities are, you can see both lithium and magnesium are harder and lighter than the other elements in the respective group. Lithium and magnesium react slowly with water. Their oxides and hydroxides are much less soluble than their other counterparts, and their hydroxide decompose on heating, and this is because of polarization, because hydroxide is very large in size and the ion is very small in size. There is a lot of polarization. Polarization is nothing but distortion of electron cloud, which basically decreases the stability. Now, both form of nitride, you can see that I told you earlier that lithium forms nitride and magnesium also forms nitride in a similar way by direct combination with nitrogen, whereas other metals do not form the same way. Now, the similarly oxides, you can see Li2MgO, they form only normal oxide, they do not form peroxides or superoxides, both lithium as well as magnesium, they only form normal oxides. Then carbonates of lithium and magnesium decompose very readily. This is because of polarization. CO3 negative is a very large ligand and the cation is very small, and there is a lot of distortion of the electron cloud, and therefore, they decompose very readily. Solid hydrogen carbonates are not formed by lithium and magnesium, only in solution they are formed. You cannot get sodium that is lithium hydrogen carbonate, whereas sodium hydrogen carbonate is very much present, we know that. Potassium can also form, cesium also, but lithium and magnesium do not form sodium, so that is hydrogen carbonate. Hydrogen carbonate is an MHCO3, M is metal, that is lithium will not be there, of course, others will be there. Lithium, unlike other alkali metals, forms no ethanide on reaction with ethene. Ethine we all know that CH and triple bond CH, and therefore, you can see that it does not form ethanide. Lithium and magnesium both do not form ethanide, whereas the other members readily form ethanide. Now, lithium nitrate when heated gives lithium oxide. Now, you can see that it does not give, whereas other sodium nitrite, if you heat we get sodium nitrite, we do not get in case of lithium. Now, LiF and Li2O are comparatively much less soluble in water than the corresponding alkali metals. Then anomalous behavior of lithium. Now, difference between lithium and other alkali metals, that is how does lithium differ from other alkali metals. lithium, unlike other alkyl metals, forms no ethanide on reaction with ethyne. Now, lithium nitrate when heated gives lithium oxide, whereas other alkali metal nitrate decompose to give corresponding nitrite. That is, if you heat NaNO3, we get NaNO2, whereas lithium does not behave in that way. Now, lithium fluoride and lithium oxide are comparatively much less soluble in water than the corresponding other oxides. Now I would like to summarize my lecture by telling you that we have taken up today the physical properties, the occurrence, the chemical properties, reaction with oxygen, then its organometallic chemistry, then biological importance, and in next lecture we will take up 2s group elements and study that.